Because Joe is basically a nice kid, and he knew that we'd sent him there to, give him a better time, he would come home and we'd say, how was your day at school? He'd say, awesome. And then, we'd learn we'd learn months later that he'd told his sister about how he'd been bullied at school on the days when he'd come home and said it was awesome. And that's quite hard. I don't know how he did that really, but that's built him to a certain extent. And what we're trying to encourage him now is that there's no need for that. You don't have to put up with anything because of this. You have a gift, not a problem.
It was more physical abuse. From saying that I had dyslexia, they would be like, oh no you don't, and then getting punched in the nose several times, mostly getting beaten up for comments about me and my dyslexia. And then some of the teachers told me that I was unteachable, stupid, had no brain, and so the school didn't do anything for it at all. So it was pretty much terrible there. And then at the age of 14, I went to college where I am now, and it was much, much better for me. Dyslexia is like a confusion, and it's really bad with the confusion of letters and writing, but in my opinion it's more like confusion of what you're meant to do once you learn in your different way.
When he was tested at 13, the guy said Joe would have been really frustrated that in some areas to do with visual processing, he said he's 1 point off being gifted, but in other areas of auditory processing, it was really, really shot to pieces, 0.1%. He said it's like having the engine of a Ferrari, but in the chassis of some old banger. And that Joe knows that he's a Ferrari inside, but he just can't get it out, or can't get it out quickly enough.
If I could tell my younger self something, it would be to try and believe in yourself more, even though you've got pushed down quite a bit.
He got a place in the inclusive learning division at the age of 14, and that's where he started doing hospitality and catering. And the key thing about that, the game changer, the absolute game changer, was that it built his confidence, because he came in there being quite able, quite a star. He suddenly was a bit of a star. That really turned him around.
I've had experience in a hotel as well in London. That is where Prince William and Kate stayed before their wedding.
Kate Middleton's departure from the Goring Hotel gave us the first glimpse.
And then I worked in a hotel. Meghan's and her mum stayed there before her wedding day, which was a really good experience because I'm quite a people person. So I was putting luggage into people's rooms and doing the bookings and things like that. And a lot of American people go there because of Meghan, and they were really friendly to me and gave me a lot of tips, which was quite good. So yeah.
It's a big grand hotel, sweeping gravel drive. You see the huge house as a speck in the distance, fountains and all of this. I drove up to pick him up, and as the car swept round, I could see this speck by the door in the distance. And as I came up, my heart just filled up, and I thought, that's my boy. He looked amazing. And I went in and they said, would you like a cup of tea? And I thought, that would be very nice. So I sat in the beautiful, great dining room there, drawing room there, And I heard him saying, oh, there was a fire here and la 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 la, and down in the cellar there's this, and what would you like to do? And I was thinking, gosh, you know, there were teachers at his school who thought, you know, he can't remember a thing. And here he was reeling off the history of this great house where he'd only been for, you know, a week and a half by that time or something.
But it did feel like a big accomplishment because I realised that I wasn't like unteachable or stupid. So yeah, it was a good feeling, very good.